Sebastian. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you, Daniela?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for being here today in one of our biggest events in the whole year.
It's an honor.
Great, thank you. Hi, Sebastian. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hi, we're fine. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. How about you, Matias? How are you?
Very good. I'm sorry, I'm in the car. I'm stopped at next to the highway. I had a very strong traffic, but I have very good internet, so I'm gonna take the call here.
We're so glad to have you either way. Thank you so much for joining us. As you know, we're going to be talking about financial services within the housing industry this time, and we'd really love to hear some opinions about what you have to say in this thematic. But first of all, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself very quickly, where you work, why you're here, and what your participation within the ShelterTech initiative has been. So maybe we can start with Xander.
Absolutely. Thank you, Janelle. So my name is Xander Geronimos, and I'm the head of strategic partnerships and business development for Metaprop, which is the largest early stage prop tech venture capital firm. And we've been investing and partnering with industry to solve problems of affordability, accessibility, and sustainability across the real estate value chain. And our relationship with ShelterTech has been supporting the research initiatives and promoting a lot of the amazing and exciting innovations that have come out of it. So thrilled to be here and to be a part of this organization. And clearly we have a lot of our own opinions on how we can solve for the financing of affordable housing. So just glad to be here.
Thank you. We're glad to have you, Xander. How about you, Matias?
Hi, everyone. As Daniela said, I'm Matias Lanús. Very happy to be here. I'm Vice President of Elevar Equity. Elevar Equity is a venture capital firm. We invest early stage, and it's also an impact investing firm. So we do maximize for impact and for returns. And we do invest in ShelterTech and PropTech, because usually for low-income communities, whatever goes around their homes represent between 50 to 60% of their income. So whatever we can do to optimize that is going to have a tremendous impact on those populations. And regarding our interaction with Habitat for Humanity and Village Capital, we've been working, trying to mentor and helping the entrepreneurs, and also been in some panels, and it's been a great experience so far. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Thank you, Matias. We're super glad to have you here today. We're going to continue with Mar and Sebas from Mutuo.
Okay, hi, I'm Marla Esteca and he's Sebastián Paredes. We are co-founders of Mutuo. And Mutuo is a social enterprise that tries to connect low-income families with architects, financial entities, and also technical services so they can access adequate housing throughout informal settlements.
Yeah, we're based in Lima, and our relationship with ShelterTech has been, we're part of the Andean region cohort, and we have been developing how to pivot our new platform that's called Conecta.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mar and Sebas. And finally, Nicolas Pinzon from FICA. Can you introduce yourself in a few words?
Hi, how are you? My name is Nicolas Pinzon. I'm founder and CEO of FICA. FICA is a platform that wants to accomplish the dream of everyone to have an own house. So we have an experience platform with an excellence alliance that permit different our users to have their own homes. Perfect. And we are in Colombia.
Thank you so much, Nico. Thank you all for being here. It's super glad to have you. And basically the idea today is to have a brief conversation, maybe a couple of questions where we can have your opinion on a few specific topics. So first of all, I'm going to start just highlighting that we have here many different actors within the housing ecosystem. We have Metaprop that can help us out with housing developments around the world. We have Matias that is financing many impact projects in the world. And we have, of course, the entrepreneurs that are working to solve the different problems around the region. So the question here is, what do you think from your different perspectives is the main thing that we are missing in communication between the different entities? For example, having a financial service entities such as Matias Lanús Elevar Equity and the startups that are working with him. What do you need to understand from them, and what do they need to understand from you? So I have you here on my screen, Matias, so we can start with you if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. So I think there are many people trying to solve different problems, but in Elevar, what we want to do, and we always do, is we have a bottoms-up approach and try to get to the streets, to the people, and actually understand what is their main constraints and their main hurdles to get their own home. And sometimes we're seeing many startups that are probably missing some things, not everything, and we are also missing something. So I think it's not a miscommunication, but how we nurture with entrepreneurs is trying to share these insights. And one good thing is, if insights are very similar, that's a confirmation. If we both think the same thing, it's a confirmation that we are probably right. And if we have different insights or different thoughts, we try to stress them and to confirm them in the streets. And one thing we've seen that is a big hurdle to get to your home or to buy a home, usually is this, you have to pay a little bit money upfront. It's not that amount of money, because here in Mexico and in other parts of Latin America, people can access for a loan, but this is like $200, $300, that is this down payment. And that very little amount many times is the thing that prevents them to get their home. So those type of insights, or those type of things, are the thing we like to share with entrepreneurs. And we are always eager to listen to them, because of course they are on the ground and they know better than us.
Of course. How about you, Sander? Do you agree with Matias?
No, absolutely agree. And that is kind of the ethos behind Metaprop and a lot of the successful venture capital firms, is a direct partnership with the entrepreneurs and the innovators. And then on the other side of the equation, those who would ultimately benefit from the solutions that we are offering. And I think some really key insights is knowing that money down, the $200 is key for your deposit. And there's companies like Homeward, which help with upfront cash solutions, so that in a competitive market, you are able to access and get that cash right away, and it almost comes out as an equity loan. And that provides it alleviates the stress of the home search. But I think one thing that was interesting at the last Shelter Tech conference that I was at was the revelation that in Colombia, and I think, Nicholas, you might have told me this, was that we could not provide wood-based homes. Everything has to be in concrete because of a cultural, not issue, but more of a cultural dedication to quality, means sturdiness, where folks will go into their house before buying and pound on the walls. So that's where we would look at solutions that are more concrete-based, or concrete alternatives, and instead of looking for wood alternatives. These are very much on the ground information that we would need to provide the solution. So it's that direct communication and transparency that is absolutely critical. So I couldn't agree more.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sander. And from the entrepreneur side, what do you think is the main thing that you'd like financial institutions, such as the one Sanders and Matias represent, to understand when talking to a startup that is working in these solutions? How about Matt and Sebas?
Well, basically, the main issue we have found working with financial institutions is the asymmetry of information. So when we try to build a profile for a low-income family that works in the informal market,
A reliable profile.
yeah, a reliable profile, we find many constraints from the financial entities to validate this information. So what we basically do in Mutuo is try to make this information reliable for financial institutions to recognize them at real information. So we would like, we have some relationship with a couple of financial institutions, and we have found that the issue to start co-creating a system that can make this information valid, it's like one of the main milestones that we have to achieve.
Perfect. Definitely making sure that everyone understands where the information is coming from and what information is available, right? Which is also a very big challenge in this particular sector in Latin America, is that many times we don't have the information and we have to create it ourselves, and making sure that the financial institution or any investor that is working with us understands that this is the case, right? How about you, Nico? Any last words or thoughts on what we were talking about?
Yes, I think that what we want to do with FICA is to create like new information for the user that we have, to share that information with the financials system, that they can take that information and so that our user have an and financial education in their in their thing that they are accomplished to have a mortgage loan to have their own houses. So we want to share and to create an alliance for a value alliance, but for the user to that they can take more easy and keep quickly their mortgage loan to have their own homes.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. We see that the information that a user receives is also very important, right? So making sure that there's coherence is just everything that you were talking about, coherence between the information that the user has, the entrepreneur has, the entrepreneur creates, and the financial institution has access to. And that's super important. And switching a little bit towards the fact that that information is many times better accommodated in a technical platform, a digital platform specifically. What would you say is the importance of making sure that these families, low-income families, have access to a digital platform that will help them create this information? From your standpoint, for example, Xander, what is the importance for you as a VC, as a developer, that digital platforms exist to create this information?
Yeah, I think it just all comes down to one, quality information, and then the standardization of that data and that information, and following human workflows. So in highly mobile driven economies, which are rising in Latin America and Western Africa, I think it's something that is very much a way that we can access that and then pull that into systems of truth, which haven't been widely adopted. So some of the the standard mortgage mortgage databases that don't necessarily exist or credit applications. These are areas at which we have to mine that information and connect that data through digital solutions. So this is something that we've been practicing, or in North America for over the last 10 years, of improving that standard information and transforming what was hyper driven by paper into a digital solution, so that you can understand and do more of a forward thinking approach versus a retroactive and putting out the fire after problems have arisen. So that's a similar lesson and learning that we can apply across the board, but really comes down to adoption and understanding what is the core behavior and the programs, or at least the digital applications which they're already using.
Yeah, perfect. Totally understandable. I think this is super relevant to everything that we're doing, not only here, but in every other sector, is standardization and access to information. How about you, Matias? From your perspective as a venture capital fund, how important is it for startups to have a digital component for your fund, for example?
Yeah, no, for us, even though we're not a tech investors, most of the companies we invest in have a high degree of technology, because technology helps on distribution and also on affordability. And that's what mainly low-income communities need. And in terms of in prop tech, we've seen that there's need that information could create a very good competitive advantage against competition. So we're seeing some startups that are getting tons of information and data, transforming it to insights on, for example, how to price a house. So if you have a good software, because here in Mexico and Latin, there's not that transparency. So if you have to do it all by paper and everything manual, it makes it expensive. Whereas if you have a good information and you can do it digitally and probably pre-approve the price of your home in 7 days, makes it easier, makes it quicker and cheaper. So that down payment we were talking before becomes more easy to solve. And the other part is not only information in the prop sector, but also in the people's. So startups that are very good at underwriting through technology and seeing probably what like traditional banking systems do not see. Probably they see at a bureau that is incomplete and not accurate and sometimes unfair. So many startups are being able, not only for prop tech, but also for loans, general loans, to get information and create good insights and being more fair on underwriting clients and being able to get them a loan for housing. So information is critical, and whenever you get that information, usually creates a great moat or competitive advantage against competition.
Yeah, and we see that all the time, that as the more information that we have in financial information and the easier it is to access, as Xander was saying as well, the better it's going to be for everyone, including the last end user. And just in the last 5 minutes that we have available for this panel, I'd like to ask the startups to tell us a little bit about, just to end the panel, we have an audience of we have a very varied audience in this event, including investors, stakeholders, different entrepreneurs, people that have worked with you in the past. What would you say is the main need that you'd like to communicate to them from your startup position? What do you think startups need in this financial services and digital platforms throughout the region? Let's start with Nico.
Okay, thank you. I think that what we need is like no only a financial in our service or investor, that we need is an ally that can be guide us to a different perspective in not only our country, but in Latin America. So what we need, I think that more that money is like to be able to understand what is the global about this industry, and to be able to get alliance with others companies to be a better customer service for the user.
Perfect. Thank you, Nico. How about you, Mar and Sebas?
I think we agree with Nico in terms that it's not just money that we need. It's more like opening for co-creation, maybe opening for piloting, trust in us, to make a new pilot, to create innovations, to co-create new things. And sometimes that is the hardest thing to get. Sometimes it's easier to get money, but not this opening for co-creation. I don't know if you want to say anything else.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Super, thank you. I think everyone's going to appreciate to listen to that. And I think both Sander and Matthias have demonstrated that this co-creation opportunity is definitely there to be taken advantage of. And I think that's super great to hear from both sides. I think there's been a lot of coincidence from both sides, and that's a great signal that we're moving in the right direction. So thank you so much, all of you, for participating in this panel. Right now, we're going to move forward with with a presentation from Village Capital and Maile, who's going to talk a little bit to us about how we've been collaborating together. But for the moment, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.